Good morning again, Mount Gilead. This is Mike Bridgewater, and it is June 4th, and today I have the pleasure of doing the devotion again. Today we're going to look at one of my most favorite stories out of the book of Acts, and you can find this in Acts 27, and this is the story of the shipwreck that Paul is on. So we're late in the ministry of Paul's ministry in the book of Acts. He's on his way to Rome to stand before Caesar on this trip. So it starts out, and we get introduced to a centurion named Julius, who was very kind to Paul and had some respect for Paul. It looks like he actually gave him some liberty there at the beginning of this story, where he could go meet with his friends for a little bit. Gave him some leave, and Paul advises them early on. He says, "Hey, this is not really the time of the year we should be making this journey." Paul was a seasoned traveler, and this is late in the year. There's a fast going on, which is the Fast of Atonement, which takes place in late in the year, like in September, October. And by that time of the year, sailing on the Mediterranean Sea was just not advised, and people just didn't do it. They would find a place to put up, to find a harbor and put up for the winter time, and then sail on the next spring. But the ship that they get put on is a big ship out of Alexandria, most likely a cargo ship that is going to be taking probably corn or something from Egypt up to Rome, and the owner of the ship convinces the centurion who was in charge that, hey, we just got to go ahead and push on and try to get the cargo to Rome, against Paul's advice that hey, we should just kind of sit back and harbor here on Crete is where they were at. But they push off, and they try to make it to Rome, and they get into a terrible storm on the Mediterranean Sea, where they actually get lost. They didn't have GPS systems back at this time, and they most likely didn't have a sextant or anything like that. They would travel by just knowing where they are along the coast. But they get lost. They don't know where they're at, and they had not eaten anything because they were in this fast of this Day of Atonement fast. And you get down to verse 21, and Paul kind of stands up and says, "Hey, you guys should have listened to me. I told you not to leave. We're going to have a lot of trouble, but take heart. I've had a vision from God, and an angel came and told me, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand before Caesar, and behold, God has granted you all that those that sail with you. So take heart, for I have faith in God. It will be exactly as I've told you, but we must run aground on some island.'" And they were on the ship for another 14 days. It was a very bad storm. Then they probably heard some waves crashing on shore and knew they were getting close to shore, and they were trying to figure out what to do. And Paul again pulls them together and says, "Hey guys, we've got to get on land here, but first I want you to have something to eat and get your strength back." So he got them all together, and they broke bread, and they gave thanks, and they ate. And then all the people were encouraged on the ship, and there was like 276 people that the story tells us. And then they got busy, and they lightened up the ship. They were working really hard. They were throwing stuff overboard, and they end up wrecking the ship on a reef, and everybody gets the soldiers at that point get concerned, and they decide that, hey, we got to kill all these prisoners that are with us, because in the Roman times, if the soldiers had lost their prisoners, they would then be put to death. So they didn't want that to happen. But the centurion Julius says, no, we're not gonna kill our prisoners. And they kept Paul alive, and they all jumped off the ship and swam to shore, and everybody was brought safely to land. So in these crazy times on this ship that we're sailing in today, there's a few things that I just want to take away from this story, and the first one is sometimes even against your better judgment, you know you're going to be in a troublesome situation. You just might find yourself in trouble against you shouldn't do it, or you're with a group, and it's like this is a bad idea, but it's out of your control. The circumstances are out of your control, and you may find yourself in trouble. So that can just sometimes happen. And the second thing is calm breeds calm. That's a phrase that's been said here recently. Paul just exudes calmness in this terrible storm that's at sea. He's like, hey guys, don't be afraid. We are going to make it. And the most useful people in the world are those people that can project their calmness onto others and get them, rowing in the same direction. And the third takeaway here is take care of your body. The human body is the most amazing, complex thing in the universe. It was the thing that God created as the pinnacle of creation, which was man. And we learn that sometimes you're going to find yourself in a situation where you may have to do some hard work to get yourself back on solid ground. So that's the takeaway for today, and that's the devotion for today. I would encourage you to read Acts 27, get a map out and kind of look at where they were at, how they were trying to sail from over there from around Cyprus and by Crete, and they get up into the Adriatic Sea. They're just all over the place in this story. It's just an amazing story with some amazing principles and applications for life today. So have a great day. Hope you enjoy the devotion. Bye-bye.